10, 9.
You want answers? I want the truth!
Get ready for two guys who can't handle the truth.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
But we can. Dave Palumbo, Chris Aceto. RxMuscle.com presents Heavy Muscle Radio. Watch out!
Welcome to another episode of Heavy Muscle Radio. I'm Dave Palumbo, and I'm joined, as always, by the technician Chris Aceto on this April 9th, 2018 evening. And Chris, it was a quiet weekend in the world of bodybuilding. People, I guess, are getting... we had a lot of shows back to back to back, and now there's like a little lull, and then it's going to build up again next month when we go back to the New York Pro and Pittsburgh Pro and all the string of shows that will continue after that. And what were you just saying we were about to talk about?
Nothing bodybuilding.
No, yeah, what did you just say? I said let's save it for the show.
Oh, Black Panther.
Oh yeah, what's give me the whole take on this. I was a movie buff, Chris. I loved movies. I haven't seen a movie since the last time I was on an airplane because I just don't have any time. I can't sit and watch a whole movie because of kids and I don't.
I always used to ask you before you had kids, like, when do you have time to watch all these movies?
Yeah,
and you're like, oh, I got Apple TV, I've got this, I've got Netflix, and you were the first person to ever tell me about Apple TV, Netflix. In fact, you sent me Apple TV, and it never showed up.
Yeah.
You just happened to mention on the show once, hey, did about Apple TV, and I said, Dave, I never got it.
That is kind of weird. I still haven't checked into that, to be honest with you. But so I haven't really had time. But this Black Panther movie that's out, he's a black superhero. What's the attraction to it? Why is this movie such a high grossing movie? I haven't seen it. Have you?
Yeah, I saw it with my kids.
Was it good?
I thought it was great.
What was so?
And
good
I'm not
about
a big, but I'm not a big movie fan. I don't go to the movies much. I'm not a movie expert.
What was so compelling about it that it was so good?
I thought it was high excitement. It was believable in the sense that you could suspend your imagination to the point where you could get lost in the storyline.
So it was he's a good superhero.
It's got a good story to it. Like a lot of superheroes do, good versus evil, but has some twists and turns. But all movies do. I don't know what all superhero movies will have twists and turns.
What's his special power?
His special power is that he turns into the Panther, and what is it? The metal they got, vibranium. It's like DNP for fucking movie theater.
When I heard DNP, I almost dropped the microphone.
It's like DNP for Marvel comic folks.
Gotcha.
It makes you invincible. It's like,
it's like
the ultimate. It's like the ultimate anabolic stack.
Okay.
And it makes you invincible and.
So he's like, is he like Superman? I mean, what does he like become when he turns into the Panther?
No, he becomes a Panther, and he's got indestructible powers.
Yeah. Oh, that's pretty powerful.
Yeah, and
what's his one weakness? Because all these superheroes always have a weakness.
Woman.
Oh, really?
I'm just kidding.
I was like, that's original.
I can't even remember, Dave. I can't. You know what? I can't even remember.
You just saw the movie.
I know, but I had the 4-year-old with me and my two.
Be honest, did you fall asleep?
The 4-year-old was trying to act out the stuff in the aisle. You know what I mean?
So you were trying to keep him under control?
Yeah, I was trying to not be embarrassed.
Did you have to take him out of the movie theater at all?
Just to go to the bathroom, but he had to go to the bathroom, so he had to preface that with, I have to go fast. So I'm like, what's that mean? That like you have to go fast? He said, you have to pick me up and run. Because he didn't miss anything.
Do when you go to the movies with your kids, not that it's that often, do you buy them popcorn and candy and that kind of stuff?
Oh yeah, I buy them. They absolutely have to have popcorn and drinks, and they have to. And I make it like the whole thing because when I went, my mother would which would be rare.
She'd send you with a tuna sandwich, probably, right?
No, she'd pop the damn popcorn and put it in a baggie, not even a Ziploc, baggie. And I'd have to go to the movie theater with shitty popcorn, and the other kids would get to spend money.
You know what my parents would do, which I think actually sometimes you're embarrassed by when your parents do that. Like I had a friend his mother would make him a tuna sandwich and send him to the movies, which he was embarrassed. But my mother was smart because she knew what I wanted. She knew I wanted the candy. She's like, I'm going to buy you the candy before we go to the movies. You could pick out whatever because she knew it would be like a quarter of the price. And I would get, instead of one thing that I would normally have to buy in the movies, I would get like 4 different candies. So we'd go to the candy store first, and I would pick out whatever I wanted, and she'd put it in a little bag for me, and then they dropped me at the movies. And this is before they like had like metal detectors at the movies where they would like frisk you. And I would go in there with my stuff. I think I got a drink when I was there or something like that. Or no, she packed the diet, not diets, whatever, regular Cokes in little cans or bottles. I don't know what they were back then. And I went to the movies with the greatest. I was so sick when I would leave the movie because I had so much candy to eat there that I was ready to throw up when I would leave. But man, I got whatever I wanted. And the other kids would go and they'd buy 1 piece of candy to whatever 2 pieces of candy, and mine was always better. I loved it. So kudos to my mom to think of that idea. Saving money and also satisfying me, not embarrassing me. That was a key.
Yeah. Well, I'll make sure you don't take Logan to the movies with a tuna sandwich.
It is pretty funny, though. Lunches, when I would go to camp, I went to summer camp. My parents always sent me. I guess they wanted to get rid of us in the summer, my sister and I. And they would send me with lunches. And some of the kids would get the lunch that the camp, provides, which is expensive. And those lunches sucked. Matter of fact, I actually worked in the meal hall there one year when I was a little older as a counselor and helped cook the food. But I would bring... My mother would pack me some serious stuff. Like I was one of the. I remember I was the first kid in camp to ever have Doritos. Remember when Doritos came out?
Oh yeah.
No one had
yes,
them.
I do remember. Nobody
I had
them.
Doritos. People are like, what are those?
They were more expensive than chips. Actually.
Yes, they were. But my mother, she sprung for that because she figured she's still saving money on whatever the camp charge. I had a bag of Doritos, and I was at that point when they first came out, the bags were they actually had chips in them. Nowadays they have like 4 chips in them, but people were like, what's that? And I would be like, here, try a half of one.
Yeah.
And,
do it like me and sell them.
Yeah.
Mark them up.
Should have. And yeah, so that was...
Where was the camps? Were they in Maine?
No, not sleepaway camps. They were like day camps. So they were like, they weren't too far from my house. Buses would come pick you up. And it was enough to get rid of us for the day so that my sister and I were gone and my parents...
Well, if you're really wealthy from Long Island, I know you're from Long Island, then you just ship them out to Maine for the entire summer.
Yeah.
That's the popular...
I never understood the whole sleepaway camp thing because I really didn't want to leave my parents. I liked going out during the day, but I liked coming back and being around on the weekends and stuff like that. So the other kids, it seemed like the kids missed the summer to me. But then I found out later that it was like a lot of especially as you got older, there was there was girls there and God knows what on these sleepaway camps. So maybe they were having a good time. But it seemed like the Jewish kids that I knew always went to the Jewish sleepaway camps, and then they had the Jewish sleepaway camps, and they had the Catholic or Christian sleepaway camps. I don't know why they had religious connotations to them, but they seem to have. That's the way it worked out. And I think the Jewish parents didn't want their kids, fraternizing with non-Jewish girls. I guess.
Oh yeah. You break up get them into married.
Yeah, they don't like that.
Oh, maybe it was the Jewish camps are easy to keep a kosher camp.
No, because not all the kids were kosher. But I'm telling you, ask Aaron Singerman. The big thing with Jewish parents is they want their kids to marry other Jews because they got to keep because the Jewish race was the Jewish religion, I guess you could say, was drastically reduced by Hitler. So the theory was you got to marry within your religion. Of course, my parents broke that up pretty quickly.
Only your parent. It's only Sal, dude. Right?
Well,
throws a curveball.
Yeah.
Throws a curveball right into the whole right.
Right. Messes up the whole Jewish faith of there. Luckily, my grandparents really weren't that religious, but I'm sure they didn't like it at first when my father first started dating my mother. I'm sure of it. I just saw my dad today. He was a
How's
mess.
he doing?
He was a mess.
Well, I saw my uncle today, first time in years, a few years.
My father's like, "Get me out of this! Get me out of here!" He was eating lunch. I said, "You had enough?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you haven't had dessert yet." He goes, "Dessert?" He goes, "Who? No one said anything about dessert." Like he wanted out until he heard that there was dessert.
Yeah.
And then he stayed for another 10 minutes to eat dessert. Dessert? No one mentioned. How come you didn't mention anything to me? I'm like, Dad, you eat here every day, 3 times a day. You get dessert at every meal. I do?
Yeah.
You do. Yeah, you do. What's wrong with that woman over there? What's that thing on her head? Dad, shut up. What's that mark on her head? Dad, she had her head. They drilled a hole in her head the other day. She had pressure in there. Do I have to look at it while I'm eating? I said, Dad, believe me, you're no cup of tea to look at either.
Was he wearing the RxMuscle clothing or the muscular development? I know he wears all the bodybuilding stuff you give him.
Yeah, he was. You know what he had on? Toughen the hell up. From my friend Eileen Calabrese. It's her clothing
fun
line.
with it.
So my wife took a picture and sent it to Eileen. Sal's representing. But yeah, my dad's got, these people must think he's crazy. He's got all these like T-shirts with the sayings and everything on it.
You got to start a little Instagram account for him.
I should.
So you can post up his. People would follow him.
I think he would have more followers than I would probably. I'm convinced of it. I really am. I've been doing these Instagram lives. Not a lot of them, but one. I do them once in a while. I did one while cleaning snakes on, was it Saturday night, I think it was? Friday night or Saturday night. And I'm showing off snakes and answering questions for people. People love it. I was so, when I got back, I did it for about 30 minutes. Got back, and I told my wife, as my wife was doing, she does the Peloton. We got this Peloton bike. It's like a spin bike. You do spin classes online.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And I said, it's amazing. I said, bodybuilders nowadays, on Saturday nights, don't go out anymore. I said, they sit home. And they watch Instagram Live. I said, it's a brave new world.
Nobody goes out.
No, but I'm telling you, no. You know what? We're like solitary creatures. We all sit around on our phones. Saturday, see, I can spend more time on my phone watching all the Instagram Lives. It's like everyone is hanging out with each other, but no one's actually leaving the house.
Yeah,
it's going to get to the point where you ever see these movies where it's like one of these old Star Treks, where the people don't move. They're like in these machines, and their brains are just hooked up, and everything is experienced through like cyber reality. There's really no interaction. No one touches each other. Matter of fact, they can't even breed anymore. They lost the ability to replicate. Because they have no interaction with each other. That's where we're heading. You know that, right?
Well, listen, I was going to make a video of it. I went to my son's one of two basketball games yesterday morning. I had to leave the house at 5 a.m. to get there. We had to be there at 7:30. And when I get to the game, I definitely turn my phone off and leave it in the car. So I don't have my phone with me. So I sit in the stands.
Isn't that dangerous if your wife has to get in touch with you?
Well, I mean, yeah, but,
I wouldn't be allowed to do that,
You got to put it away sometimes, because this is what I wanted to avoid. You know what? I sit in the stands, and every single person in the stands has got a phone on, and not only are they like half paying attention to the game,
right?
But when the whistle blows, dude, and every single person's head goes straight to their phone.
And like, I got to see. I might have missed something during the 5 minutes that the
5 seconds, brr, whistle again. They're looking at their phone.
It is kind of scary. Really, if the government really wanted to brainwash the entire American country, or probably the whole world for that matter, the only people who would be immune would be like the guys in India who don't have phones. But they could just send hypnotic suggestion over the cell phones and over the airways, and forget it. We'd all be like walking zombies. We might all be walking zombies right now. We just don't know it.
Listen. You know what? I told you before we started, I said I went to visit my cousin today because we went to, and I told my 4-year-old, hey, we're going to go visit my cousin. We haven't seen him in years. He's got a farm, and he wanted to know if he had a lion on the farm.
Mm-hmm. Your son, yeah.
Yeah, and then he said when you get to the farm, and he has, he does have it's a beautiful farm with cows and pigs and chickens and hens and horses.
Your conventional farm, right.
He had to brag and say, my dad's friend has a snake farm. That's you. My cousin is an artist, and I forgot. I'm following him in the car, and I'm trying to call him. I'm like, why won't he pick up? I realize, guess what?
What?
He does not have a cell phone.
Wow, that's a
2018 does not have a cell phone. So when we got lost looking for my uncle's,
couldn't call him.
No, I'm right behind him. So he stops and he says, I can't find the place. And I said, use your GPS. And I'm
what's
like,
that?
That's right. He don't have one because he doesn't have a phone. I said, I'll put it in. That's how we found my uncle's house.
That's funny. That is funny. Look, there are some people out there that don't have. My father doesn't have a cell phone, but what does he need it for? For that matter.
Yeah.
It is amazing though. It is amazing. I think that the the people with no cell phones will inherit the world because they'll be immune to all the. I'm telling you, Big Brother is watching.
Oh, absolutely, dude.
Name's Donald Trump.
Yeah, that's how I mean, look at people freaking out about Facebook and collecting all that information. Well, what do you think that they did you really think that you went to Facebook and Facebook was not watching every single thing that you do at all times? They keep track of every single like you've done, every place you visited, every video you've watched.
And we put our stuff in we put our information in willingly.
Yeah.
I go to sites and give them information just because I want to be notified, like, of certain things that I'm interested in. So I'm voluntary. There are the people, obviously, I know guys that will turn their cell phone off when they're driving because they don't want to be tracked, that kind of thing. But I got nothing to hide. I don't care. Track me. What do I care? I want you to push as much information to me as possible so that I could...
Yeah, we are an information junkie. You love it.
Yeah, well, I want it. That's when you're involved in the news reporting, you need to have this stuff. Speaking of news, did you see this nutcase Conor McGregor who got arrested?
I did. Yeah.
What a lunatic!
Yeah. What you think of that?
I think there's something wrong with him. My first thing was like, well, maybe he's drunk because he's an Irish guy. Irish people like to drink, as Jimmy the Bull would say. Maybe he got drunk, and just got crazy. But everyone's saying no, he was perfectly sober. I don't know what the whole story is, but evidently he was pissed off at someone, and he threw that dolly through the windshield of the Greyhound bus that all the MMA guys were on.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he hurt one of the guys and possibly one of the girls. I guess she didn't get hurt because she wound up fighting, but he's got arrested. He's a very, very rich man from that fight with Floyd Mayweather. So now everyone sees dollar signs. So these guys are all going to sue him. He might not, he might not get any real charges against him. I mean, because let's face it, he didn't kill anyone, but he didn't beat anyone up. He might have endangered some reckless endangerment, but let's face it, he's going to be civilly sued. And he's going to have to settle with these people because it's not. He doesn't want the bad publicity at this point, even though he's got tons of it. I think these guys would get crazy when they start making money and they start thinking that they're better than the world. People make fun of Floyd Mayweather for spending a lot of money, but you don't see Floyd getting into. Aside from beating up his wife occasionally or his girlfriends, you don't really see him into too much trouble. Considering he comes from that that background where he was in a lot of trouble as a kid.
Yeah, no, you don't. You need discipline.
And it's interesting because Triple H told me this. When Triple H worked with him for WrestleMania one year, he said this. Floyd Mayweather, people think he's a dummy. He's a smart marketing genius. He gets it. That's exactly what Triple H told me. He gets it. Speaking of Triple H, WrestleMania is this weekend.
What's that?
And WrestleMania was this weekend. I don't know if you kids watched that. And
I didn't know.
Triple H looked
I
really
saw a
good.
headline about how the women were getting ready to dominate WrestleMania.
Yeah, well, they had Ronda Rousey, and then they got a lot of women involved there. But it's interesting. WrestleMania.
You know what's
bigger than the
interesting?
Super Bowl.
I still can't wrap my head around, not beating a dead horse, that Vince's wife did not win the Senate run in Connecticut twice.
Yeah, well, that's it's very Democratic state.
I'll give you. Here's the reason why. Who's a better promoter than Vince? Let me see who you're going to say. I'm writing it down right now.
Certainly not Steve Carroll.
No, just who's better at marketing? I can tell you one person off the top of my head who's better at marketing than Vince.
Who?
And he's a friend of Vince's.
Trump?
Donald Trump.
Oh, true. You got the presidency, right?
Yeah. So just surprised that Linda McMahon never won, and she's very qualified.
She's probably
business.
Right. People think that she's a rich one. No, she's actually a smart lady, and you know what? She probably would have been a great congressman. But isn't Connecticut a Democratic state though? Usually. Yeah,
it is. It is, but maybe it was right there. The undertone was, a powerful woman. Maybe some voters would turn it off.
She was misunderstood. If they would have sat down with her, like I did in her house, when I did her diet a couple years back, and spent an hour with her, they would be like, I want this woman running. Like she's like the ultimate strong mother that would definitely be someone who would be out for the people's rights and stuff like that. Yeah, she would have been great. Well, You never know. She's in the cabinet now, so I guess, she could always move up if Trump gets elected again, I guess. Who knows? I think she still has aspirations of doing stuff, so we might see more of her in that sense. Vince is kind of like the CEO, I guess, now, right, of WWE.
Yeah,
she was running it for a while.
You see Vince is doing football now.
I know. He's starting his own football league again. Bringing back the USFL? Is that what it was?
Well, I think he's doing like arena football, some sort of that version. I think.
I thought they're bringing out a league. They're bringing back that other league.
I don't know. Bring back the WBF one more time, for God's sakes, Vince. Give it a shot. See if we can get like Dorian or Haney to come back.
Well, you know what would be good? It would be good, not like a competitive body. Like, I don't think that Vince should come out with a bodybuilding league that would be competitive, with the IFBB, NPC type of situation. That's unnecessary. It should be an entertainment bodybuilding league. In other words, you get guys like Andy Hammond, who have personalities, and you make characters out of them, like you did with the wrestlers. That's what he was trying to do. But then you also have, obviously, they have to pose down against each other. They have to have strength competitions against each other. And who cares if it's staged? No one cares. It'll be great just to look at these huge guys. The problem is the whole the steroid issue. For some reason, once you put things on TV, these people go lunatic. And then they have to test everyone. You know what I mean? But to be honest, I think it would be great. I would love to see it. So this way, there was no competition. They can cross-promote each other even. It might even make the IFBB, Pro League more popular because, Vince can get some of those athletes on the show. It would be great. I think it would be a great crossover. But like I said, I know, with the WWE has a crazy drug testing policy now because they're a publicly traded company, and it's a shame when politics gets in the way of, or business gets in the way of business. If you know what I'm saying. Did you see? I don't know if you see Jay Cutler. I think it was on Instagram. Wrote something about he thought or did an interview with someone where he said that the freakiest bodybuilder he'd ever seen was Lee Priest. Did you see that?
Jay said that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember him. I remember him. No, I didn't see it, but look, I know Jay saw Lee Priest. They were coming up at the same time, and they were at. I think they were at. Where did Jay see him? I think Gold's when Ed had Jay out there, and Jay was super impressed with him, He was freaky at his prime, at his, and and think of the age, 22, 23.
Was he younger than Lee Priest at that time? Or were they about the same age? I think Lee was younger. I think Lee's younger.
I think Lee might have been a year younger or so.
Yeah. The freakiest bodybuilder I've ever seen in my entire life is Lee Priest. That's what he said.
I wonder when he saw that to.
I'm trying to think. I'm trying to find the. There's some kind of an interview he did. So. Yeah,
he beat Lee Priest when he won the New York Pro the first year.
Yeah. Well, he was. Jay got better. You know who I'm going to be interviewing? I know I've said it that I really want.
Yeah, I said you guys spill the beans.
Well, I'm going to spill it because it's booked. I don't care. If anyone tries to interrupt it, doesn't matter to me. But I'm going to be interviewing Dorian Yates a week from Thursday. Yeah. And because he's at Fibo this weekend, so I
don't weasel out with 30 minutes.
No, he asked me how
much. It's too much. You have too many good questions. And anyone who's seen Dorian open up his mouth in the last 3 years, he has too many good things, too many interesting things to say on life. I think, I saw Dorian in I've been around, so I've seen Dorian here, there, everywhere. And I saw Dorian at the Olympia in Germany. That when they had that Mr. Olympia Germany, whatever they called it,
right,
2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And Dorian had the strongest inner glow about him of any person that I've seen in a long time. Meaning just beaming positive energy. And, and he beamed it my way. I turned and I beamed it. He, smiled or something. I don't know what happened. I laughed. I said something funny, and he laughed, and we ended up talking 1,000 miles an hour for 45 minutes.
He's an interesting guy.
Too many topics, too many things, too many. We just talked in too many topics and then in circles.
It's interesting because Dorian and I come from very different places, and you too, obviously. Dorian really wasn't, he didn't go to college or anything like that, and he was basically self-taught. He was basically at a point in his life where he was like, if I don't succeed in bodybuilding, I'm going to be a loser, basically. And his will to succeed was so great. I loved when he talks about how there was nothing he could have done more than, and there was no one who could have outworked him on anything he was doing. He said he didn't do anything. He didn't go to the movies. He didn't go anywhere. All he did was bodybuilding,
Well, you know what? One of his famous quotes is, I remember when he was bodybuilding, or just after bodybuilding, he said, "They told me don't put all your eggs in one basket." He said, "I only had one egg in one basket."
Exactly. And
it's a good perspective.
No, it is. But you know what? He was like a machine when he was bodybuilding, and I really. I emulated that machine. I became that same machine, essentially. When I was, I didn't have as good a genetics as him, but I obviously was able to add the muscle and bring the conditioning he did. And I maximized whatever my potential was. But it was because of him that I did that, because he showed me that can be done. And, I really admired that about him. And then after he was done competing, and after I was done competing, we both rediscovered who we were, and realized that, all right, there is a life after bodybuilding, and we reinvented ourselves. And so in a sense, it's funny, we have like a similar path that we took, and so I can relate to a lot of what he's going through, and when he speaks, I really, it resonates with me a lot. And I pretty much say this, I believe the same things as he does. And so it'll be an interesting, talk. I wanted, he did a lot of interviews recently, and obviously that London Reel one that he did they got him back on there 40 times already to talk about, all the hallucinogenic drugs he did and all this. And it was interesting and all, but I have a different perspective, because my perspective is from the perspective of a bodybuilder. As a person who was coming up during those years watching him, and that's where how I'm going to approach the interview. It's going to be from a bodybuilder's perspective, which I don't think a lot of people that interview him do that, have done that. I think he's been on some of these social media guys, interviewed him, and then obviously the London Reel guy. I'm going to do it from the point of a guy who actually was doing the same thing he was, but I'm going to ask him the questions about, how he felt, because I think as a bodybuilder who's watching this interview, they're going to want to see what Dorian was feeling and going through at the time, and that's important, I think, from the perspective of a bodybuilder, and what he felt about other people. Because Dorian didn't talk to anyone when he was competing. No. He was like a closed book. I mean, the only thing you could find out about with the guy was, what he had wrote in that book, Blood and Guts. That was it. And you can watch that training video, Blood and Guts, which was basically just uncut footage of him just training. There was nothing. It was probably the greatest selling video of all time that there was no editing done to. It was just raw footage in real time. There was nothing, clipped or cut or anything. It was amazing, and people watched it over and over and over. And I remember it would run in gyms, right? It would run continuously, and everyone was trying to find out what Dorian was doing and how he was, equipment he was wearing and how many reps he would do, and people would know. All right, on the set of leg presses, he did this many reps. And it was crazy. It was insane. So that's going to be a fun interview. I'm really looking forward to that, just on a personal level. I'm also having Andre Ferguson on the show. I had Brandon Hendrickson last week, who I know you like his physique a lot, men's physique guy. He had just won a show, and he was basically saying, I could beat Andre Ferguson, because I know they have a rivalry going. And Andre went crazy on his Instagram about the fact that Brandon said he has better genetics than Andre, and it was great. So Andre's all juiced up, so I'm going to get him on Thursday. That'll be a good interview. I know a lot of people were texting me right after. Whenever there's something controversial on our site, people text me immediately. Oh, this guy said this. You got to get him on. And luckily, I kind of knew what was going to happen. So I texted Andre. I'm like, you ready? He's like, yeah, I'm ready, man. I'll come on. So that'll be a good interview. That's coming up Thursday. There's the Orlando show this weekend coming up. Orlando, I guess they call it the Europa Games now, Orlando, but I still call it the Orlando Europa Pro. That's what I call it, from good old days. And they have, remember when they used to have open? How come they don't have open bodybuilding at any of these Europa shows anymore? They got men's physique pro, women's physique pro, and figure, and of course they got the NPC show. I have a lot of athletes in there. So.
I don't know. You tell me. Why don't they have it?
I don't know. Ed said that it didn't pay. I guess Why cut back? It doesn't pay. I think, yeah, you know what? I think that he felt like the pros don't really, I don't know, he doesn't get enough of a turnout, and I don't know, maybe they're not supporting the show enough. So obviously he's got to give away a lot more prize money to the shows. It definitely cuts, your profits down if you have to have a men's open show, because you got to give them more prize money. And I think the sanction for it is much more expensive. But Ed and Betty throw a terrific show. They really do. They got I know the two most popular ones are the Dallas Europa show and the Orlando, and then they have the one in Phoenix, usually at the end of the year, and then they have the one now they just started recently. This is the second year in North Carolina there. It's funny because I don't think that one's as popular, but North Carolina's a small state, so I could see where everyone wants to go to Orlando. Who doesn't want to go to Orlando? I mean, it's a great place to just go vacation, even.
Yeah.
Even if you don't live around here, I would go, but I don't have any. I have no time. We have babies in the house. I can't go anywhere. People are like, you go to Orlando, you live right there. I said, it's 2.5 hours. It's not right there. I said, I got to stay overnight. It's a 2-day show. It's too much. It's too much.
It's the kids.
We're too old. Is that what it is, Chris? We're just too old.
You got anchor babies.
Yeah.
They anchor you down to your house.
There's a chance I might go to India. I really don't want to go anywhere this
year. Well,
you
you can't make it 2.5 hours to Orlando and you're going to India.
I might have to. I might be doing a big seminar tour out there. So we'll see.
For who was it for? Sharu or for Species?
There's a guy. No, there's a guy out there who is a very popular YouTube personality who's very well known out there, and he wants me to go do my guru seminar out there, and I told him, look, if it's financially feasible, I can do it. But it's got to be for one weekend. I don't care if I'm going to pull like an Aceto. I'm going to fly like 1 day straight. Do the thing. Fly
Xanax it up for 36 hours. Get there. Talk a mile a minute for 1 day, and then get back on the flight and come home.
That's it. I have to come.
Well, that's the land of gurus, right?
Yeah. Well, you know what? I guess India are really, they're looking for people to really educate them. They're very behind in information over there, and they need someone to teach them. That's really what it is. They don't need bro science. They want someone to go over there and teach them. And that's what they're really craving over there. And look, there's a lot of people over there, and if I can make it worth my while, I'm going to go over there and do it, and be like a mentor to a lot of these guys. Because I think there's a lot of great Indian bodybuilders. I work with a bunch of them, and you'll get arrested.
You'll get arrested coming back into the country, not for like someone else who just got arrested for keeping pot in their bag. We can't mention that bodybuilder.
No.
I guarantee he listens to the show, and the strangeness is a bodybuilder.
Tell the story. It's a good story. Just don't mention the guy's name.
A bodybuilder was arrested.
At an airport.
And
for what?
Well, he had marijuana in his. He was like sneaking it onto.
I thought marijuana is legal now.
And that's what I said. But my teacher, who told me, my elementary teacher,
who you're still in touch with, how old is he now? 90?
I said, yeah, because he sold me my first bottle of D-ball. I said.
Did he really?
Which is that's an exaggeration, but I think he popped a few. He definitely popped a few D-balls in his time.
In his day, yeah.
Yeah, and so
is he like your favorite teacher? Is that why you're still in contact?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And he never ever texts me, and he texts me.
So how do you even have your teacher from school's cell phone number? What do you bump into him in the supermarket?
No, because I bumped into him recently, the last couple years, and
he remembered you.
Up and we go way back. I mean, he was a very good bodybuilder. He was very good bodybuilder.
So you know him from that perspective too.
Yeah,
gotcha.
And so he's going to be in his 70s now, and he texts me so-and-so. Let's see, let me read the text. And I said, how do you know? He said, because I'm in the same airport. And he was in...
Don't say the airport, just because then it might tip off.
Well, he was in an airport. It was south of New York, but north of Florida.
Okay, good.
On the East Coast.
Right.
And
what happened? They were frisking the guy, or what were they doing?
I don't know, but he said, so-and-so headed to a show.
Pro bodybuilder, right? Pro bodybuilder.
Yeah, pro bodybuilder. Very well known.
Right.
Got caught with concealed marijuana extract in baby wipes container in the XYZ airport. He said the cop who arrested him told me that.
Oh my
and this teacher had never, he's like a George Washington type. He don't lie. And I said, marijuana is legal now. All my tenants smoke it. Laugh out loud. He said it's true, but he had it concealed. If you do put it out,
so if you have he probably didn't have
the little white dish in the wallet. You know what I mean? He said, but he had it concealed. Had it smuggled. They never would have said anything had he hadn't tried to hide it.
Oh.
$500 lesson learned, I guess.
Oh, it's only a fine?
Yeah.
So they didn't arrest him then, did they?
Well, I don't know. You'll have to ask the guy. You text him. You
All
guys.
right, I'll text him after.
Say Chris Aceto's elementary teacher was known to pop a couple D-balls in his time.
God, unbelievable.
Just happened to be in the same airport with you.
Yeah.
And the arresting officer or the officer who found it
Yeah. So I'm looking at these Nikes, these new Nike shoes. They're called.
Yes.
When I buy shoes, I go online and I customize them because I wear a size 15. So I have to get
triple wide.
No, it's not. Just hot buy. I just have a big size, and so I can't just go into a store and buy sneakers. So I go online and I buy them online. I buy the same ones every single time because I know what I like. And I see this ad on Facebook just now, earlier, and I clicked on it. It's for Nike, the new Nike Air Max 270s. They look super cool. They got a big, cushion thing back there. I figured out this is good for my shoes, good for my feet. I'm going to get these things. I click on the thing to try to, buy the shoes, and they only go up to size 12.
Yeah, what do you do?
I can't buy them. Isn't that discrimination?
No, that's just Mark. They just can't make a profit on how many people have a size 15 triple X wide.
But this is the irony of the whole thing. You know how you can customize your shoes on the Nike website. So if I'm customizing them and I'm picking my own size, isn't that? It's not like they're sitting around. They got to make the shoes. So what's the difference if they make them 15 or they make them 12?
Doogie, who's the lawyer guy who's #1 on the radio podcast? We're number 28. Doogie, what's the guy's name again?
Duke, yeah. Duke.
Christian Doogie, he's a lawyer. He listens to the show. I'm sure he can represent you for take a percentage off.
A discrimination trial.
Discriminatory lawsuit, Dave Palumbo against Nike defendant, represented by Christian Doogie.
Oh my God, trust you too much. One of my clients sent me, this is a true story, speaking of Christian Duke, one of my clients sent me an update photos for the week.
Uh-huh.
So I'm scrolling down, I'm looking through the updates, and I'm not going to say what it is. Last picture is Christian Duke with his arm around the person. And they and then, in the updates, they're like, oh, and then at the end, they're like, oh, Christian Duke sends his best. I'm like, this guy's got some miracles. I said, the last person I expected to see in the update pictures was Christian Duke. And there was that bald head of his, and I had to look at it. So, anyway, it is what it is. Thanks, Christian. Thanks for thinking of me. I don't know if it was done sarcastically or legitimately, but it is what it is. There's your 2 minutes of fame I gave you again. All right, what else? There was a show this weekend, Salt Lake City show. Now, getting back to the original story I was telling you about, Brandon Hendrickson was on a tear. He won Hawaii. He placed, what did he place? Second at third? He placed third at the Arnold men's physique. Then he won the Hawaii Pro. He won the show the week after, which is, it's slipping my mind for some reason. The Indy Pro, right? Was it Indy?
Yeah.
Or one of those shows last week. And then he was doing another show this past weekend in Salt Lake City. I said, isn't that a lot of shows to do in a row? I want to do them. So the weekend before, he had beaten Joseph Lee. And this week, by 1 point, he loses. Now, my question to you is, now I didn't see the pictures or anything like that, so I'm assuming that Joseph Lee just looked a little better this week. Maybe it was too many shows in a row for Brandon, and he wound up having to, just by 1 point, finish in second place, which kind of sucks. Do you think that it's this is kind of like the way the old bodybuilding used to be, right? The guys would do like 4 shows in a row, and one guy would beat one week, the next week the other guy. Isn't that kind of exciting, don't you think? Like the men's physique guys, they don't do anything on stage. It's kind of a little boring, but I think the division is more exciting. There's more rivalry. These guys compete more often. Dean Balabas was third. George Brown was fourth. Another great men's physique guy. Xavier Gaden was fifth. I mean, it seems like every week there's a good lineup. I wish the bodybuilders could do more of this. Don't you?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good guys in men's physique. A lot of good guys in men's physique who could graduate to classic bodybuilding because there's a lot of muscle in that division.
Brandon can definitely. He's got great legs.
Oh, there's a lot of people who could, and I think that no disrespect for the class whatsoever, because the class has come such a long way from just looking like models in shorts to like tremendous physiques in shorts. But I think if it goes back to this again, you could have a panel of 10 in Indiana and a panel of judging 10 in California, and you could put the top 3 guys in Indiana and bring them out to California a week later, and the placings get shuffled. Not because the physiques change that much in a week, but because there's some level of personal preference. Because remember, you're not doing much. So it's hard to eliminate, it's hard to make that distinction. Okay, Chris Aceto, why did you have so-and-so, first in Indiana, at this show? Well, when they turned to the side chest and the side tricep, I gave it to bodybuilder XYZ. There's 7 poses versus just, a couple in men's physique. So it's hard to make that distinction. So personal preferences come into play. You can't say, albeit guys are in the same condition in men's physique from one show to the next, let's say, on this pose or this shot, he dominated him or he beat him this week. Does it make sense? There's less tangibles.
No, it makes complete sense.
So that's why, and I think that's why the rivalries, the guys got big mouths, and I don't mean that in a negative way, is because they're like, shit, I beat this guy already twice. Now he beats me all of a sudden. You can't go to a judge. Sometimes you can go to a judge in bodybuilding and say, I beat this guy 3 times in a row. How's he beating me now? He says, well, you know what? Your back was, faded this week. It looked like nothing on the back last spread, the back double, whereas, 3 weeks ago, you were super tight in those shots.
Well, you remember in 96 when they had the Florida Cup and Wheeler beat Ronnie Coleman, Milos third, and then the week after at the Canada Cup, Ronnie won, and then Wheeler was second, and Milos was third. So, and the reason I remember that is because Jimmy Mentis just put up pictures from that show.
Oh, really? Send them to me. I was at that Montreal show. It was either the first year or the second year I was there.
He put pictures up from the Florida show. But that was back in the day where they battled it out like that. In 96, Wheeler won the Ironman. Then he was second at the Arnold because that's when Levrone beat him. The Florida Cup, he won that. Then Coleman beat him at the Canada Pro. Night of Champions. Then he won the Night of Champions, And then he was 4th at the Olympia that year. Think about how many shows he did. There wasn't that many shows around. He probably did every show that year.
Yeah.
And he won 3 of them. He was second and one, third and another, second and 2 of them, and 4th. Guys don't do that anymore. And Wheeler had nothing to prove. Wheeler could have just done the Olympia every year. That's what the guys nowadays do. But he was out there freaking winning shows every year. 97, he won the Arnold, Ironman, and San Jose Pro. 98, he won the Arnold, the Ironman, second at the Olympia.
He laid it on the line for somebody, who didn't have to lay it on the line.
No, but
they didn't play conservative.
No, not at all.
Sean Ray had a tremendous physique too, but he didn't lay it on the line except once a year.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Dorian about that too, because Dorian didn't do a lot of shows either in his day.
Yeah, well, Dorian didn't have to. He was Mr. Olympia.
Right, but even the first couple of years, remember he lost that one show, Night of Champions, to Benaziza. He only did one show that year, and then he came back the following year and he won it. And then he won the Olympia, right? Or he was second at the Olympia, and then he won the Olympia the following year. So, he really was, kind of conservative in his shows. But he could have done more. He would have cleaned up. I think he won a few Grand Prix, Dorian, when he after the Olympia a couple times. He would go and do a few of those. Especially, he always did the British one, which was obviously his home country. So, no way he was losing there after winning the Olympia. That's for sure. That wasn't going to happen. I don't know.
I think we talked about Linda and Vince McMahon before. I think they tried to sign him.
Oh, they did?
Oh yeah. No, he was asking about it. He was not interested.
Well, he wanted to win the Olympia. He didn't care about the
money. Yeah, of course. And
I'm sure Joe probably gave him a crazy contract too.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
There was no way Joe was letting Dorian go. That was his paycheck right there.
No, neither was he letting when Vince signed Lou Ferrigno.
He got him back, didn't he?
Yeah, because Joe almost died early.
What do you think Joe offered? I should ask him.
Infinitesimal amount of money to get Ferrigno back.
Yeah, because
infinitesimal amount of money.
Because
you should have asked Ferrigno what he got from Joe.
Yeah, but
I'm sure it was $1 million.
But didn't Louis go back after the WBF failed though? I don't know if he went back.
It doesn't matter. He had signed. You know what? He was with
Vince.
He was all in, and you know what he was in for? He was in for the money.
Of course he was.
Yeah, of course he was. So the only way he left was for the money. It's not like he woke up one day and said, "Oh, geez, you know, I would like to go down in history as an Mr. Olympia winner with the, you know, one of the few men." You know, he came back for only one reason: the money.
Now, do you think that if that had been pulled off and Louis had come back and competed, you think they would have made him he would have been the champion, right? I'm sure.
Of course, yes.
Because I mean, it was like WWE. I mean, they didn't care about the front double bicep pose. Louis would have been the biggest guy up there anyway, and they would have justified it that he was the biggest guy and he won.
Louis, nobody really got into the depth of where Louis. Ask Jim. Who's your buddy from WBF? Jim Ed
Quinn?
Connor's guy. Jim Quinn. Ask Jim Quinn how big Lou was. Ask Jim Quinn, because Jim Quinn was big. Mm-hmm. Ask him, Jim, how big was Lou when you guys had your big meeting in Connecticut with Vince? Because David Dirth told me, and Aaron Baker told me that they had never seen anyone that big.
Really?
Yes. He was like 340 and ripped.
And
I saw him 325 ripped.
And you know what the funny thing was? He would have been unbelievable looking on the stage at that, just the freaky mask. They were doing all kinds of kooky stuff like, rep contests, and they were doing, barbell curl contests. He would have been great because he would have been like the Andre the Giant of the WBF, right?
Yeah, for sure.
I'm sure that's what Vince saw in his head. They even looked alike, Andre and Louis at the time.
Yeah.
He would have been the Andre the Giant. He would have been a legend. And he probably should have done WWE. They probably couldn't pay him. They probably couldn't get enough money out of him to get him to do it. I'm shocked that he didn't get him in there.
Maybe Andre Ferguson can do WWF.
He definitely has the mouthpiece for it. That's for
sure.
That's
half the battle. I mean, that's half the shtick, right? Is to be able to.
Yeah. Triple H told me they could teach anyone how to wrestle. It's just a matter of they can't teach you how to speak though.
Yeah.
If you don't have a good personality, that would have been interesting. Yeah. Louis' life was interesting because he had so many opportunities. That he could have gone different directions, and he was smart. I think he in the long run picked the right thing. I mean, he would have won the Mr. Olympia a few times, but who cares? Would anyone have even known? I mean, does anyone really know who Frank Zane is? I mean, he won the Olympia 3 times. I mean, outside of bodybuilding, no. But everyone knows who Lou Ferrigno is.
Yeah.
That Incredible Hulk TV show made him. Even though he missed the best years of his prime, competing. Who cares? Louis makes some good decisions. I got to be honest with you. And I think a lot of people thought that he would, after a couple of those bomb movies he did, like the Hercules movie where they dubbed his voice. I don't think anyone ever thought that Louis was that good an actor, but he actually became better as he got older because his personality came out, I think, a little bit more. He opened up. He became more confident in himself.
Yeah. Well, he probably matured as an actor as well.
Yeah, but he just matured as a person too, and he became very confident in himself. Something that I don't think he had when he was younger. He even admitted that himself, because it was a terrible relationship with his dad.
Speaking of Louis, he is the head of the President's Council on Physical Fitness, right?
I don't know if did Trump make him that? I asked him about that. I don't remember if Trump made him that. I thought it was what's his name? Let's see. What is it? The head of the President's Council?
President's Council on Physical Fitness. Lou Ferrigno to be Trump's head of Council on Health and Fitness. So, yeah.
I thought he said he was doing it, or he was up for it at least.
How Lou Ferrigno set to take job on Trump Fitness Council.
Oh, it is? Okay. Good for him. He belongs in that position. He should have had it years ago. Arnold had it.
Lee Haney had it.
Yeah, Haney had it too. That's right.
Isn't that wild? Phil Heath
who did Haney have it under? What president?
Haney must have been under...
Not Clinton, was it? Probably under Clinton. It had to be Clinton. Wasn't Clinton from Georgia? Where were they from originally?
Arkansas.
Oh, Arkansas. Never mind. Take that back. Florence Griffith Joyner was on the council from 93 to 98. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
I didn't know that. It's pretty impressive. They don't have a list of all. They only have the notables. Lou is not on the list. They could be because they haven't done the new one yet. I'm looking at Wikipedia, of course. Sometimes
Wikipedia, that's your friend Roger Stone's website.
and that's WikiLeaks. Right?
Yeah, WikiLeaks.
Yeah, I hear Roger Stone's in trouble. Good news for you.
I think you did. You know what? I gotta re-listen to your. I wonder if he spilled any beans on your show when you interviewed him.
I'm sure there's probably some leaks on there. They're probably going over the. I'm probably going to get subpoenaed into court when it's all said and done, right?
Yeah, you never know.
I bet you. Imagine that. Imagine Dave Palumbo gets subpoenaed.
Yeah. You get Christian Duque to represent you.
Yeah. I'd have to get Lou. I'd have to get Rick Collins. He'd love it. Rick would love it.
Yeah, he would love it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I think he was named. Hold on, here I got it. Incredible Hulk himself, Lou Ferrigno, has just been tapped as the head of the Trump's Fitness Council.
There you go. It's funny. Didn't he make any bodybuilding buzz, right?
No, well, I don't know if he was ever. Was it ever confirmed? I got it. I'll text Louis. I'll text his son. I have his son's cell phone number too. His son gets back to me pretty quickly. All right, let me just report the last thing. There was a bikini pro at the event at the Salt Lake City as well. Sherry Aspero from the Philippines won up. Congratulations. A little international flair. Rafaela Milagros from Brazil, second. And Camille Perrier in the third position. So congratulations to those ladies. I wonder if Sherry from the Philippines is the first Filipino female ever to be on the Olympia stage. I don't know too many others, do you?
No, I don't know any.
I'm sure there's like some people that are like half Filipino. Wasn't Jeremy Buendia half Filipino? I think I'm making that up. I think I'm making it up. I don't know. But someone told me they were half Filipino. I don't remember who it was. Jason Hutt's half Korean, but not
I knew
Filipino.
that.
Not Filipino. He's never been on the Olympia stage, has he? Though.
Jason Hutt?
Yeah.
No, I don't think he's. No. He's no. Definitely not.
I'm looking something up. Talk.
What was the topic?
You know, I'm looking at my wife is over at my office across the driveway doing orders. She tries to catch up because Monday's always a nutcase. It's impossible to do anything on Monday. And I have the baby monitor here. One camera showing my daughter in a rock and play, sleeping, and the other camera is on my son upstairs in his crib sleeping. And if anything goes wrong, I have to run. I have to stop. Luckily, nothing's happened. I don't want to jinx myself by saying that, but it's pretty funny, right? The technology we have. What did you do in the old days? What did we do in the old days?
You'd have to run up and check.
You'd have to just listen for it.
Right?
I don't know. It's crazy.
You'd have to run up and check.
You have baby monitors in your house?
Well, we had baby monitors. We don't have a baby. We have a toddler.
4 years old. You still don't have a baby monitor on him?
No, I can hear him. He makes so much noise. It's ridiculous.
He sleeps in a regular bed, right? He doesn't have a crib.
No, he don't have a crib.
Okay.
He had his crib is in his room, and we tried to take it out, and he still has a sentimental value.
Oh, he does?
Attachment to it, so he doesn't want it taken out of his room.
Gotcha. Did your son suck on the pacifier at all? A lot?
No, none of them did. None of them had pacifiers.
No?
They didn't. They didn't. They wouldn't take a pacifier.
Really? Not ever?
Nope. Not never.
Wow. That's amazing.
I know. Strange, right?
Yeah, I guess the Palumbo
They rejected
kids
it.
have oral fixations. My son, we weaned him off the pacifiers during the day. He only gets them when he takes a nap and at night. It's like giving him like a Xanax basically. So I'd rather him sleep at this point.
Yeah.
We're not fighting him on it yet. Well, I don't mind if he has it at night. At least he's not using it during the day anymore. Because he'd keep it in all day long if it was up to him.
He'll just run around with it in his mouth.
Oh, he sucks on it like it's like a cigar he's got in his mouth. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I've never seen anything like it. I was the same way. They had my father told me this story years ago that they were trying to get. The old pacifiers used to have little rings on the end of them. Like, so and I used to put them on my. I had one on every finger. My father used to tell me, and each one had a different name and different, like, after dinner I would have this one, and after the lunch I'd have this one, and I guess I thought they had different tastes or whatever. And so they try to con me into getting rid of them. So the deal was that I was going to get rid of them, and I was going to dispose of them. And so my father said, "Yeah, you lived up to your promise. They were gone." He goes. He goes, "We were shocked, your mother and I. Like, we couldn't believe it. You got rid of them. We didn't know whether we got rid of them, but we didn't see them anymore, and that was it." And I guess at the time we were living in an apartment in Jamaica, Queens, and there was like back. This goes to tell you how people are so worried about, like, people safety with kids. We had a window that could be opened in my bedroom. I was opening the window and I was putting the pacifiers on the fire, like out on the. I don't know if it was a fire escape or if it was just on the ledge of the windowsill. And then I would shut the window so no one knew where they were. And then when I would go to sleep, he said you'd open the window and I'd grab them and I'd bring them into my bed and I would.
Oh, you had a little storage area, yeah. So nobody would take them.
And they caught me one day. I guess they came into the room or something like that early. And
what, you open up the window?
And I was like sucking on them like I was like a heroin addict. My father said, I would sneak every once in a while. I needed a fix. I'd go into the bedroom and open up the window and suck on these things. So I thought that was pretty funny. So I don't feel so. After I hear all these stories, I'm like, maybe my son's not so neurotic after all. Maybe he just takes after me. That's all.
They get all their little nuances, kids.
Yeah. Someone sent me a article. One of our crazy fans of the show. A cyclist, 23 years old. A professional cyclist, 23 years old, dies after suffering cardiac arrest during a race. Veranda's Williams Craiglin rider Michael Goulorts has died after suffering cardiac arrest during the 2018 edition of the Paris-Roubaix. Roubaix? It's a race.
Uh-huh.
He crashed on the Brizastra Cobble sector with just over 150 kilometers remaining in the race. Television footage showing the Belgian had appeared to have crashed alone. He said the 23-year-old had suffered cardiac arrest, receiving emergency treatment from medical staff at the scene. He was transferred by helicopter to a hospital for further treatment. So of course,
why did they send it? Why did someone send it?
Because the question was DNP or EPO. That's the question.
How about
well, DNP, it wasn't DNP. No cyclists can use DNP. Yeah. That's obviously reduced their performance, but probably was EPO. But you know what? A lot of these cyclists have arrhythmias. Look, if you have an arrhythmia, just genetically speaking, a lot of people are born with them. I had one. I didn't even know it, right? But I never really was. Luckily, I didn't drop dead while I was a runner. In my early years, but. These guys are pushing, the envelope with how hard they go. They go for, they're cycling for 100 miles. And if you could throw an arrhythmia, then your body can't pull out of that arrhythmia, your heart. Mm-hmm. You die. Mm-hmm. But you go into cardiac arrest and you die. And it might not have anything to do with drugs or anything. It might just be that's what you got. I mean, you hear about some of these guys dropping dead on a basketball court out of nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, people don't say it would. It seems it's not super common, but it's fairly common.
Yeah. You would think by now,
heart attacks.
With all the technology we have, right, that they would be able to diagnose if you have an arrhythmia. It's sad. I hearing things like that because the guy probably didn't even know he was a walking. As my dad, this is my dad's expression, a walking time bomb.
Dave, you didn't let me fill in. You didn't let me finish the sentence. Time bomb. That's an old time saying. Yeah, walking time bomb. That's something my mother would say. He was a walking time. It was bound to happen. He was a walking time bomb.
But I mean, everyone's always looking for the drug angle. Dallas McCarver.
Oh yeah, for sure.
He had bad genetics. He had a 90% blockage in his heart. Yeah, he was on a lot of steroids. Who cares? The steroids didn't kill him. The blockage in his heart killed him. Mm-hmm. And so it's sad. People do die. Young people die. Babies die, right? You go into a cancer ward, a kid's cancer ward, you'll destroy you inside to see these kids.
Yeah, no, I've been to them.
What did they do? Were they shooting freaking liquid Dianabol? Is that why they have cancer? No, people die. That's what happens. It's not a fair world. Not everyone gets to live a long life and suffer like you and I will.
Yeah.
But it happens, and it's unfortunate, and you can't blame drugs for everything, Now, if the guy was a cocaine user, it's a different story, But I doubt this cyclist was a cocaine user. Was he probably on a little bit of performance enhancing stuff? Probably. But if you saw the minuscule amounts that these cyclists use, because they would get caught because they get tested, they're not. No one's dying from. Lance Armstrong didn't take a lot of drugs. People don't realize that. You can't beat the test. He just was smart about how he did it. That's all. And that's just the way it goes. So people are, they're such reactionaries.
Where is Lance Armstrong these days? You don't hear much about him, right?
You know what he does now? These rich guys who there's a bunch of rich guys who have these $20,000 bikes, and they just are into cycling. And they want to just hang out with Lance Armstrong. So they pay him for the day. They'll pay him for a weekend.
Bike schmoes.
Bike schmoes, yeah. They'll pay him for the weekend, and he has to go and cycle with these guys. And the funny thing is these guys are probably better than he is now because he doesn't cycle at that level anymore. He doesn't want to be bothered, And he has to I was watching an interview with him, or maybe it was a written interview, and he was saying how after a weekend with these guys, he's like dead. He can't even walk for like a week after it because he's so exhausted and these guys are all like, yeah, I beat Lance Armstrong, but they're really in there to schmo out with him, like you said, and just get information out of him. What do you do? What do you take? What do you do? It's like, it's like hiring Dorian, to come and teach you how to be a bodybuilder or something like that, by a bunch of, 40-year-old guys who want to do Masters Nationals and stuff like that, You know what I'm saying? So it was... It's pretty funny. He probably makes even though he lost all his contracts and everything like that. The guy has to have a lot of money still. There's no way he doesn't have enough money to live the rest of his life very comfortably.
I don't know. You know what? Oh, I had a tenant who got a settlement recently. He got a settlement for $125,000, and he blew through it in 3 months.
I believe it. When you get a settlement like that, you put it in the bank and you pretend you don't have it because that's not a lot of money. That's not a lot of money.
Yeah. No, because he's behind on rent. I said, "What happened to your settlement?" He said that he went through it already.
If you don't have money and you win a lot of money, you don't know how to manage it. You go through it like water.
No,
it's not a good.
It's my. Do we have the tenant phone call, by the way, with the man minerals? The lady who spent the money on the man minerals. You have to edit it.
All right, hold on. Where do I have to start it someplace?
Well, because at the beginning she gives her name and her address, so we have to.
Ugh. Maybe I'll beep it out. Hold on. I'll have to on my editing. I have to remember where it is though. It is a funny message. It's worth playing probably. Hold on. Give us the background on this woman while I'm finding it.
Well, there was a bunch of people behind on rent. It was just driving me. So I gave her a notice. She's not behind. It's not like a big number, but so someone posted a 7-day notice to pay or quit, which is it's a notice that says you owe XYZ amount of money, and if you don't pay it in 7 days, you agree to, I guess, quit the lease and leave the building. And if they don't in that period of time, then you serve them papers at for a court date and bring them to court. Mm-hmm. So she admitted that she was behind, but that's because her animals got sick. So she took her rent money.
Right. Let me play it. I think I pushed. I think I'm ahead enough that I blocked.
But she has a little difficult time articulating.
Don't ruin it. Let me play.
$615. I'd like to make some kind of arrangement. I had to take my animals to the veterinarians twice, and it was a matter of life and death. And could you please call me back so we can talk? Thank you very much, Chris. Bye-bye.
Wasn't there another one you sent me with the people? They wanted something. What did they want? There was another excuse why they couldn't pay you. Or maybe you just told me about that one. That wasn't a message.
I can't remember.
So she wants you to give her a break on the.
Yeah, because if you listen closely, the mamminals. Not the animals, the mamminals. And you know what? Which gets me. You know what? If you think, she don't have a dog or a cat because she would have said my dog and my cat.
Oh, you think she's lying?
No, she's got something. She's got something there that's not even supposed to be there.
The animals, she said. I got you. That's what she said. The
mammals, she said.
Yeah, but she means she's got some kind of animal she had to take to the vet. Which wasn't a dog.
Got a little monkey in a cage, or a little chicken in a cage, or some dangerous snake.
Come on, Chris, knock some money. I thought there was another person who wanted you to knock some money off the rent because you told me.
Oh, okay.
The one who got married.
I sent you that text. Yes. Read that text.
Oh, hold on. All right, let me pull. This is funny. This is better than that thing. I get so many great. If I read all the text that I got you from you, Chris, people would go crazy.
That's a good one. Good. Please read that one. Do you have it?
Yeah, I must have it. Hold on. Did you Oh, yeah, I got it. I read it to my wife too. She was laughing. Hey, I just wanted to let you know that we had our baby boy on the 9th. I know it's a lot to ask, but is there any way we can get 1 month free rent? We're just a little tight on cash. And what was my response to you? You should have said back there, the bank is not giving me a break on the mortgage this month. Unbelievable. People got balls. I'll tell you that much. You know.
Yeah.
And I feel bad. Look, I feel bad for people, but that's not your problem because you got to pay your own mortgage. I mean, what do they think? You're made of money?
Yeah.
If they knew the pressure that the bills that you had to pay every month, they would fucking blow their brains out. I don't know how you do it, to be honest with you, with all the different buildings you own and everything like that. And you get snow removal charges of like $10,000 for the month.
Yeah.
These people, they've never seen bills in their entire life that the bills that you probably have to pay every month. Because I know what I pay every month, from bills and salaries, and I'm like sweating at the end of the month, and you got like 40 times that.
Well, when not getting paid rent by someone, it's like I told you, it's like when a customer is not paying for protein, or they get a shipment for like 1,000 containers of protein, and they don't pay for it, and then they put in another order for 500.
Yeah.
And you say, hey, you haven't paid the previous 1,000. They said, oh, I'm sending out a check for 250 of them right now, and then in 3 weeks, another check for 300 of them, but I need 2,000 more.
Yeah, that's how we dealt steroids back in the day. That's how it went. Can I get another couple vials? Can I get another 10 vials? You haven't paid me for the last 10 vials. Oh my God! Thank God that insanity's over with. Bodybuilders are the worst. I was the guy. Whoever I bought my steroids from, the guy was always like, "How come you always have money?" I said, "Because I pay my bills. That's why I'm a successful businessman now. Because I paid my steroid bills back in the day." The guy I got him from in Germany, he was like, "We love dealing with you." I'm like, "Why?" He's like, "Because you pay us." No bodybuilders pay. They all try to stiff these guys, and then of course what happens is they get cut off, and then they don't have any. They have no contacts. Yeah. I never wanted to lose a contact. The only time I lost a contact was when they got arrested when I was bodybuilding, and I couldn't get from them anymore. But it wasn't because of money. It wasn't because I didn't pay them. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, my most fascinating question. I only asked you one question about steroid selling.
Yeah.
Do you remember what it was?
No. What was it?
It was, how did they not get you on tax evasion? You said because I paid all my taxes.
Yes, I paid the taxes on the money I made.
I said
I didn't write it down as steroid money, but I paid taxes on it. Yeah, anything I put in the bank, I pay taxes on because that's the way you do it. You got to give the government their cut, man.
You know what? Pay them first.
Exactly. I wasn't looking
because
to cheat anyone.
The minute you get behind, it gets compounded. I had something, Dave, once. I had the first year I filed taxes, I was like 20. I had something that was like, $200. I don't know what it was, like $200 or $300 or something, and it was something so nominal. And then like 4 years later, I got an IRS notice that I like underreported by like $300 or something, and then with the penalties and the blah blah blah, it was like $2,800. It was like something crazy.
You never did that again, I bet.
No. But it was the crazy thing is I paid all my taxes with the exception of that like $300 or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Something that I had
You just didn't
made
know.
money somehow that someone had, issued a 1099 at the end of the year. And I didn't know what a 1099 was anyway, and I didn't know.
My wife pays our estimated taxes at the beginning of the year for the whole year. I'm like, you really want to pay that much money? She's like, why? We don't have to worry about it the whole year. And it's great because at the end of the year, we don't have to worry about it. She's right. We have nothing to worry about.
Yeah,
We're like, everything we got in the bank is ours. It's a great idea. She's like, I don't want to pay estimated quarters. I'm paying the whole thing. I said, it's gonna bring our bank account down a little bit. She's like, I don't care. We got to pay it anyway. I said,
yeah.
She's like, you're not going to work the rest of the year? I said, no, I am. She's right. She's smarter. She pays my dad's too, like that. Whatever small estimates he's got, so we don't have to worry about it at the end of the year. People spend it. That's what the problem is. They spend it, and then at the end of the year they have no money. They can't pay their estimated taxes.
Yeah.
Someone was telling me some bodybuilder just it happened to them this year. They made a lot of money and they didn't pay any estimates. Oh, I don't want to. Oh, I know who it is. It's someone who owns a supplement company. I don't want to say the name of them. Someone told me.
Oh, you gotta text.
I'll tell you afterwards. I'll tell you.
Tell me off the.
Yeah. Yeah, they owe a lot of back taxes. Anyway,
is a bodybuilder or a supplement owner?
Supplement company owner who was a bodybuilder.
Oh, Dave, now you're narrowing it down.
I'm narrowing it down, right? Exactly.
I think I have an idea now.
All right. Orlando Europa Pro coming up this weekend. Good luck to all the competitors there. Good luck, Ed and Betty Parisa. Ed, by the way, Ed looks pretty good. I got to tell you, for a guy who had cancer surgery, what was it, a year ago or something? A year and a half ago, or maybe actually it was over the summer. It was not even a year. He's doing damn good. I wish him the best and send my love and prayers out to you, Ed, because you're very brave. He underwent that surgery with it. He has they took his bladder out and his colon. Crazy, but saved his life. He said, "Look, I wanted to live." Yeah,
easy decision.
I don't care what I have to live with. No. I'd rather live than die. And I think a lot of people are stupid. They try to do things the more convenient way, and they wind up not surviving. So, a very courageous decision. He said, "Look, I got grandkids. I want to watch them grow up, and I got a good life. And there is life outside of bodybuilding, and that's probably going to be the theme of the interview I do with Dorian, which will take place not this week, but the week after that, when he gets back from Fibo. Oh, I guess Fibo's this weekend too. A lot of people have been asking me if I'm going, and I said no. I went last year because Yamamoto brought us out. And
then what happened?
What happened at the time? I like Fibo. You know why I like Fibo? Because there's no show there. And even when there was a show, it was like an hour it took for the show to be over. I just like the expo. I love walking through it. It's amazing. It's like the Arnold Classic times 15.
Yeah, a bit much bigger. People don't know that it's much bigger.
And for some reason,
in terms of
the Germans do a great job setting that thing up too. I got to be honest with you. I always have a good time when I went there, even though I never stayed very long, except the first time I went to Fibo, I went with Aaron. We went to Sweden first for a show. Then we flew to Amsterdam. We spent 2 days there. Took the train to Cologne, Germany, which is where Fibo was, and then we were in Fibo for a couple of days, and then we flew home. It was a long trip. It was almost 2 weeks we were gone, but I had a good time actually. That's when I had no responsibilities though, so you can do stuff like that, and it doesn't matter. But not anymore. Not anymore. I'm a parent like Chris Aceto now, so I have to have responsibilities.
Busy 24/7.
I think we from this was such a good show. We might move up to the 28th position on the ranking on the podcast, my podcast ranking system.
No, because I heard you're getting Dorian this week, and number 27 is getting Richard Simmons. You're getting Dorian. Number 26 is getting John Smith.
Yeah.
You're getting Dorian this week.
Oh my God. People love the little rant we went on about the whole ranking system. They thought it was a joke. People think a lot of stuff we talk about is jokes, but the truth is probably 99.999%.
Well, that's what was funny about it, because
it wasn't a joke.
Someone ranked you. And some lady says,
you're 29. You should be happy. You should be honored to be in the top 30, top 29. Yeah. They didn't rank 30 people. They ranked top 29. Yeah. They couldn't. You know why they only ranked?
Called the bluff. You know what? You would have won number 1 on her little list if you said, how would I, we would like to make a contribution to your service, so that you guys can advise us how we can move up in the rankings to number one. So since you're, we understand that you're the professionals, and we think you'd be able to do a full evaluation of the show and contribute in terms of content and duration and other factors that would lead us to jump from 28 to 14 to number one within the next month. And what type of contribution are you looking for?
Yeah,
she would have give it 10,000, you'll go to number one.
Yeah, Blackman could do that. You know what the funny thing was? They ranked the top 29, which tells me there probably is only 29 podcasts, so we probably were last, on the ranking system. So.
Well, maybe they got upside down. We're number one, and maybe she made a mistake. And 29.
All right, guys, that's it. Until next week, remember, with Heavy Muscle Radio,
the truth hurts.
Good night, everyone.
911!